The Final Destination movies are hilarious. Whether or not they were trying to be is debatable, but I really think that these movies wanted to be scary. Well, at first anyway. I recently watched all 5 movies back to back in preparation for this video, and let me tell you, I think I got dumber. I've got quite a bit to talk about, so I'm just gonna get started with Final Destination 1. If you don't know, at the start of each movie, a tragic accident occurs and one of our main characters always has a premonition of the accident before it happens. They save a few people that would have died in the accident, and then as the movie progresses, death comes back to kill them in different ways. And in the first movie, it's an exploding airplane, and a high school student manages to get a few of his classmates off of the plane by freaking out. Okay, first off, I say high school students really lightly, cause just look. This guy's like 25. This bitch is fucking 30 at least. Ollie Larder looks like she's pushing 30. I can believe that the main guy is a senior, maybe. What? They didn't even fucking try with this guy. Oh wait, that's a teacher. Oh yeah, Stifler's in this movie, and it's just distracting. This scene as a whole is just super annoying. The timeline of everything is just so fucked up. During his vision, once the plane takes off, it takes a good 2 minutes for shit to hit the fan. We see the plane shake for a bit, then the walls fly off the plane and people die one by one, and after about a minute and a half of that, we see the plane explode and our main character engulf in flames. Later, after he wakes up and he's gotten his friends off of the plane, we see that same thing happen but from the airport's point of view. The plane takes off, but not 20 seconds later, it already explodes. What? It should have taken another 3 minutes at least. If this movie didn't take itself so seriously, it would be so much better, but it does, and because of that, I think it's probably the dumbest movie out of all of them. They go out of their way to put like a baby on the plane and this like retarded guy. They really want you to be just so sad and scared, but I couldn't help but laugh my ass off. If the movie would have also added like a lady with a basket of kittens, a group of nuns, an orphanage full of young children, then yeah, that would have been awesome, but unfortunately they didn't quite commit in the way that I want them to. So obviously the most important part of all these movies is the clever deaths that they come up with, and in the first movie, they all kinda just suck. I feel as if the filmmakers took the laziest approach possible when it comes to filming things, but they have such a good opportunity to do unique things with the camera, and they just never fucking do it. Watch this scene from Panic Room. Totally unrelated movie, but watch the different things that David Fincher does with the camera. He could have just cut to the door and cut to the window, but that's not at all the way he chose to do things. Imagine if David Fincher directed this movie. The deaths would have looked amazing. And I hate how death is an actual invisible monster in the movie. Like after this guy slips and hangs himself, the water magically sucks back into the tank. Am I the only person who thinks it would actually be more interesting for the characters to all inadvertently cause their own deaths? Why does there have to be an actual invisible thing there killing people? It ruins the whole movie. So they write this character to just be like a little bitch the whole time? Like, oh look, there's the guy who saved my life earlier. I'm gonna go kick his ass. Why are you so mad at him? The way his girlfriend dies is the highlight of the whole movie.
And if you want to waste your life beating the shit out of Alex every time you see him, then you can just drop fucking dead.
If the rest of it was this self-aware, maybe I'd be more forgiving, but no, this is super dramatic and it takes itself way too seriously. They waste a lot of time digging into the mythology and trying to find the order of the people, and it's too boring. Give me deaths. This movie had one good death and the rest of the movie was just poorly acted, poorly written, and nothing but a poor bunch of porridge. This is probably my least favorite movie in the entire series, and I'm giving it a 2 out of 10. Final Destination 2 is the car wreck log movie, and while this one isn't good either, it's much more entertaining. They still waste time, but not nearly as much. You can tell that the writers understand the audience just wants to see some entertaining death scenes, and this one definitely delivers a few times. There are more deaths in this one, so that helps. The acting is really bad, but sometimes they can write a character to be funny or slightly interesting. This guy in particular, while this is probably one of my favorite movies out of the series, it's oddly the one I have the least to say about. It's got some good deaths, and it's got some lame deaths. Two of the characters literally die in the same explosion. It wasn't nearly as boring as the first movie. It's still incredibly dumb and hilarious at times, but at least this one was more self-aware. I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10. Final Destination 3 is the one with the roller coaster, and it stars my homegirl, Ramona Flowers. This was before she peaked as an actress, but you can tell she has some serious potential. This is easily the best performance in the entire Final Destination series. I'd actually go as far as saying this is the only good performance in the entire series. I did get annoyed about halfway through when I realized that she never fucking stops crying. It's realistic to what's going on around her, but this movie does a real terrible job at balancing its tones. It goes from being the most dramatic movie in the series to having the most hilarious moments in the series. Look at that green screen. Oh my god, that is nauseating and so unnecessary. How hard can it be to get that shot? You're in a fucking bedroom. So the actual roller coaster scene was entertaining enough, but if you think about it for even a second, it no longer makes any sense. So the reason the roller coaster crashes is because the pervy guy was using his video camera and he drops it on the loop. Well, when the main girl snaps out of her vision, the camera guy is one of the people who gets off of the roller coaster. If he got off with his camera, then the roller coaster shouldn't have crashed at all, right? Being that his camera is what caused it to crash in the first place, I really thought that they were going to change things up and maybe have it not crash at all and have her just look crazy. That change of formula probably would have made this whole movie more interesting, and I mean, we still would get to see the roller coaster crash in her vision, but no, it crashes anyway with her boyfriend on it, and I guess the writers just hoped no one would notice. So this definitely is one of the worst narratives in the series because nothing is ever consistent or makes any sense. But it does have some of the funniest scenes in the franchise, so in the end, I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4 out of 10. So the fourth movie in the franchise is called The Final Destination, and that gave me the impression that it's the last one. It's not, but this one's in 3D. So every death in the movie pops out at you. Ooh, sick! This is undeniably the most fun and hilarious movie in the entire franchise. The 3D shit is annoying as fuck, but nothing else in this movie is taken seriously at all. The first 3 movies all open with these dark, somber, depressing, like 5-minute long opening credits, and this movie opens like this. The deaths in this movie pretty much all made me laugh. Like this KKK dude's trying to light a cross on fire in this black guy's yard, and what happens to him is just hysterical. This woman drowning in the car wash was like something straight out of a comedy. Seriously, like imagine that this is happening to Ron Burgundy. Kinda makes this shit comedy gold. This is exactly what I want out of a Final Destination movie. Nothing taken seriously, gruesome deaths, hilariously bad dialogue. And while this is probably the worst movie in the series, it's also the one I enjoy the most. I'm gonna give it a solid 5 out of 10. And finally, we arrive at Final Destination 5, and it's fine. It kind of feels like an odd blend of every movie we've seen so far. It was overly dramatic and dark like the first one. The kills were fucking great like the second one. It was just as tonally inconsistent as the third, and the acting was equally as atrocious as the fourth. All I really want out of a Final Destination movie is good death scenes, and this one really delivers on that level. It's a great Final Destination movie, but it's a terrible movie. The way it ties in with the first movie was really lame, but if that means that the franchise ends here, then I'm completely on board. I'm gonna give Final Destination 5 a 4 out of 10. If I had to rank these movies from the least entertaining to the most entertaining, it would be 1, 3, 5, 2, 4. But they're all so close, who really gives a fuck? None of them are good, and only the first one is terrible in my opinion. Other movie reviews are coming your way soon, mostly horror, but I've got some other things in mind too.